Hello, everyone. I'm Emily Patsy. With me today is Chris Valdez. He's CEO of PureWest Energy, a private Denver-based E&P focused on the production of natural gas in Wyoming. Chris has joined me today to talk about energy ESG. This is a topic that has become like a mega trend in the oil and gas industry. First off, thank you for joining us, Chris. And I was hoping you could get us started by sharing your take on the ESG movement and what you see as ESG's place in the oil and gas industry.
Thanks for having me today. Commitment to the community, safety, and environmental stewardship, these are core values for PureWest, but also it's shared broadly throughout the industry. And I just think it's something that we need to change the narrative and make sure that message is getting out in the marketplace. What we're seeing, companies both public and private are taking a step now to start reporting what they're doing and being more transparent about it. And that's something that, in particular for operators in the West, we're held to a higher standard being on federal land. So we actually have some very good metrics. I'll share one of ours. Our methane intensity rate is 0.04%. It has been for the last 2 years. And that wasn't a target that we put out there. That's just how we are operating. So we need to get that narrative out. And other operators in the West are performing at a very high level as well. So I think that's something that we need to share to the industry more broadly and get that story out. In talking with my colleagues about where we want to take PureWest and relative to ESG, it's ultimately we want to be the supplier of choice through the energy transition, the transition to a lower carbon future. We believe that natural gas is essential to the transition, and we want to make sure that we are the most responsible operator in the business. So one of the steps that we're taking to take that, go even further is we're getting all of our gas certified as responsibly sourced. We've partnered with Project Canary, and that's something I think that you're going to see more and more operators do going forward. How I like to think about it is it's akin to your credit rating. So we partnered with who we think is the industry leader now, Project Canary, but it's going to be like Moody's, Fitch, and S&P, and there'll likely be others that are stepping up that will be available to the industry as a resource.
Yeah, I definitely have seen a lot from Project Canary just this year so far. Next, though, I was hoping we could talk more about PureWest a little more. Recently PureWest changed its name from Up Energy, and in the company release announcing the name change, it said that the new name, as well as the logo and slogan, reflected the company's vision, as you said, to be the most responsible and profitable natural gas company in North America. And it also highlighted PureWest's commitment to ESG leadership. And I was wondering if you could tell us more, Chris, about the name change and what it means for the company and its goals.
So you're exactly right. Company emerged from bankruptcy in September, and then we went through our rebranding process. Very detailed process. First time I've been through anything like that. We hired an expert. We interviewed staff members, community members, and board members as well. And through that survey, we came up with a combination. And what we really want to reflect there is our commitment to environmental excellence. You mentioned, it aligns with our vision to be the most responsible and profitable Rockies-focused natural gas producer. And when people hear the name PureWest, stakeholders, whether it's customers or people in the community, we want them to think about our commitment to environmental excellence.
Well, that's great to hear. And as we've discussed so far, ESG has become a hot topic in the industry, but it's not just the majors that are setting ESG goals. Smaller independents are also addressing ESG, like similar to PureWest. With that being said, Chris, what would you say is the main drivers behind PureWest's commitment to ESG leadership?
I would say it's twofold, really. It's making sure that we are operating responsibly in the communities in Southwest Wyoming where we have production. In addition to a voice of the customer, our gas can go either to serve Eastern markets or Western markets, but we primarily serve demand centers on the West Coast, Pacific Northwest, Nevada, Arizona. And we know that there are mandates coming down, targets that they need to achieve. So we want to be a partner with them to help them achieve those goals of the transition.
You mentioned earlier the Project Canary partnership. In March of this year, y'all announced that partnership with Project Canary, which is also a Denver-based company, to produce and certify responsibly sourced natural gas from PureWest operations in the Green River Basin of Wyoming. I was wondering, Chris, if you could kind of tell us more about that partnership with Project Canary, a little bit more how that came about and any future goals? I know that it's starting off with a pilot project, correct?
It is a pilot initially, but we plan to certify majority of our legacy production by year end. And then by the end of 22, have all of our production certified. So when we say pilot, one of the things that we're helping Project Canary do is test their monitoring systems on one major pad. So that's really where the pilot came from. But it isn't us just stepping in. We're going all in and we're getting our production certified. You know what? One of the things, just Project Canary, they were really great with the outreach. They're an industry leader. They're one of the first movers. We are not the first mover in the upper Green River Basin. That was actually one of our competitors to the south. So definitely give them credit. And we saw what they were doing, and we understood, who they were partnering with, and that's how we started to investigate more. And then we had the outreach of Project Canary. But one of the things that we really like about Project Canary is, they have a very extensive rating system. They look at 600 individual points, and it's air, water, land, community. But it also highlights areas where you can improve. We're doing a good job, but you could always be better. And they really point out areas where we can make the improvements. So that was one of the things that we thought that was very important.
I recently spoke to Chris Romer, the CEO of Project Canary, and it feels like it's like a growing movement with responsibly sourced natural gas. And there's a lot. It's not only upstream, but it's midstream and utilities has opportunities there too.
It's really just emerging right now, so we'll see how this plays out ultimately. But going back to one of my previous comments, I think it's going to be across the board in the industry. Some of us are benefiting from the first mover. We don't know how the market is going to set up ultimately. We are going to have certificates for each one of our wells saying how they are rated, and I could see this developing like renewable energy credits going forward. But we're in the infancy of that.
Yeah. And, in addition to responsibly sourced gas and the Project Canary partnership, I was wondering, what are some other ways, if you could tell us, that PureWest is working to meet its ESG targets?
So in addition to being, seeking a certification for responsibly sourced gas, we're also considering opportunities to invest in carbon offset projects locally, but also potentially in our market centers. So just very preliminary investigations now, but that might be something that you can see a press release coming out from PureWest in the future saying that we are going to invest in this community solar project, or well site geothermal, or potentially RNG projects. So those are the things that we're investigating now. So not only buying offsets, but potentially investing in carbon reducing projects.
That's very interesting here. Is it kind of something also where you're powering your operations through renewables, or is it kind of the offset carbon pathway?
We do have solar out in the field,
Okay.
but there's an opportunity to invest in the Pinedale community that we're investigating currently.
Okay.
Not only offsetting hours, but potentially adding more to the grid there. In addition to the responsibly sourced and looking at those investments, we also have a very active community investment program here at the company. That was something that the legacy organization did, and it's something that we're very passionate about and continuing to do. There's about 70 organizations that we did charitable investments in last year.
Is it in where you're headquartered in Denver and in Wyoming as well, like where you operate?
That's exactly right. So not only where our office employees are located, we also have field staff.
Yeah, that was a great discussion right there. And I was like, as we wrap up, I was wondering, to get your final thoughts, Chris, on ESG, what would you say is key for an E&P company, in particular, one of the size of PureWest, is not a major who, is investing in all these renewables and stuff like that, but like, a similar size to PureWest looking to further advance their ESG strategy and reporting, how can a company differentiate itself with ESG?
I think this really ties back to our partnership with Project Canary and providing investors and the public with transparent data that they could look to see how we're performing and the things that we are doing to continue to get better each year. So it really gets back to that data transparency.
Okay. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add. I know you mentioned the methane emissions, like I guess like PureWest or Up Energy had already had a low level of methane intensity, correct?
Correct.
I don't know is there, whenever you're looking to get better, do you have any like goals in those terms to reach?
We are actively acquiring assets. We by and large consolidated operations on the Pinedale Atlantic line. So our focus for the next year, the company that we acquired also has a very good track record, but room to improve to get down to where the legacy company was. So a lot of our focus in the upcoming year is ensuring that we get that acquisition in line with our legacy performance, and then continuing to improve upon our legacy performance.
Well, thanks, Chris, again for taking the time to share expertise with us today. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to talking again soon.
Thank you so much.
Right.
For more Hart Energy videos, follow our social media channels.